saw them run the ball a lot last week in Deshaun Jackson's absence, so maybe that's a way to go. Let's dive into some of the Eagles and Jets here. Sal Paolantonio. It's a Sal Pal Friday brought to you by Dunkin' Donuts. And, of course, the Eagles are back home against the Jets, Sal, and it seems like it's one of those weeks. It's not a lot of gimmies in the NFL, but you find many outs for the Jets here. Is there something that concerns you that maybe we can't find in this game on Sunday?
No, not at all. I think that this is a game where the Eagles, just have to take care of business at home once again. They failed to do that the last time. The team should be 3-1, and they're not. And the bottom line is this is a game that they absolutely need to salt away and just keep their foot on the gas, Deshaun Jackson or not.
Yeah, no Deshaun this week. What'd you like about, they didn't have him last week. We talked about it Friday because they won the game on Thursday night. They ran the ball. What did you like about their offense without Deshaun Jackson that you'd like to see them continue to carry? Was there something you saw in that Thursday night game that maybe they did because they didn't have Deshaun?
Oh, Mike, all you had to do was even look at the highlights. But if you go back and just look at the offense from the all-22 angle that's provided by the NFL on NFL.com, the holes opened up for Jordan Howard were big enough for me, you, and Jeff Mosier to go through. They were so big. And I actually thought that Jordan Howard left yards on the field. I was surprised with how the Eagles' offensive line destroyed. And I don't use that word very often when talking about two NFL teams going against one another. They destroyed the front seven of the Green Bay Packers. And I expect that to happen against the Jets on Sunday. C.J. Mosley's not playing in the game, correct? So that's the Jets' best best sideline-to-sideline tackler. So I just think this is a game where the Eagles need to do exactly what they did last week against Green Bay at home against a much more inferior opponent, and that is just impose their will.
Sal, I was very surprised to read today that after Sam Darnold was declared out, that Darnold had been taking most of the first-team reps in practice with the hopes that he was going to get medical clearance. So now they go into this game with Luke Falk starting and not even having been given most of the opportunity to prepare for the game throughout the week. That surprised me.
Yeah, may the force be with you, Luke Falk. It's going to take more than a divine intervention from Obi-Wan Kenobi to save Jets from the mismanagement of that offense by Adam Gase. You're totally right. Jeff, it's the first time, we love Rich Cimini. Rich Cimini is, I think, one of the best beat guys who ever covered an NFL team. And if you're not familiar with Rich Cimini, he used to be at Newsday. He used to be at the New York Daily News. And he covers the Jets for ESPN.com. He's one of the NFL Nation reporters, one of the 30. And he had an unbelievable note. I think it was early last week while the Jets were on their bye. The Jets have scored one offensive touchdown in their first 3 games of the season for the first time in team history. And Adam Gase is supposed to be some kind of offensive genius.
Definitely.
And you have one of the best running backs in the NFL in the last 5 years in Le'Veon Bell. I mean, it's just unbelievable to me that this guy would have Darnold take most of the first-team reps and not get that young man ready. Luke Falk, I'm talking about, for this game. It's insane.
Hey, Sal, I'd love to get your opinion on this because in the event that Luke Falk somehow moves the ball through the air, we've talked the last couple of weeks about Ramsey. It doesn't appear that the Jags are interested in moving him. Jeff asked you last week about a secondary guy. But if the Jets were to move the ball in the air and lost the game, but still, would that then signal, you know what, we have got to, make a call? Is that something that
I
you
think it's too late. Let me cut you off there, Mike. I think it's too late. I think the owner, Shad Khan, has been emphatic that they're not trading Jalen Ramsey. Now, some people have suggested that was Shad Khan just trying to drive the price up, that they're not getting the price that they want. But they were offered 2 first-round picks. That's been well established.
Yep.
They were offered 2 first-round picks and turned it down. That has been well established by multiple reports from solid reporting. So if they're looking for something more than that, then they're just screwing around, because that's not going to happen. So it's pretty clear that Shad Khan is not trading Jalen Ramsey. And in my view, the Eagles would be insane, and I'm using that word very clearly and specifically, to give 2 first-round picks for Jalen Ramsey. Insane.
All right, Sal. Well, if not Jalen Ramsey, and they have trouble via the air. Now, there's a lot of injuries this week. They're going to go with, kind of a patchwork secondary here.
Orlando Scandrick, baby.
I mean, I guess that would be one thing, afterwards, if they say, look, Darby.
It's going to be Rasul Douglas and Orlando Scandrick, right?
Oh, that's what they're going with.
And Doug said today Sidney Jones should be able to go.
Sidney Jones.
So we'll see how long he can actually go when he's ready to go.
Well, even when he's ready to go, we have to see how long he's ready to go.
That's right. Hey, I want to get your opinion, Carson Wentz.
I'm not a Sidney Jones fan. I'm just not. I think, I'm surprised he made the roster, to tell you the truth. And it's only because they've had injuries. I mean, at some point they're going to get Crayvon LeBlanc back.
Yep.
At some point they're going to get Jalen Mills back. At some point they're just going to have to change the way they play. And hopefully, hang on for dear life until some of these guys come back. But giving up 2 first-round picks for Jalen Ramsey, when it's clear the guy says he wants to test free agency the next year, is crazy. And I think that probably is one of the holdups, right? Because his agent doesn't want to do a deal with whatever team is going to trade for him. And that's just... How do you make a deal like that, Mike and Jeff? I just don't see how you do that.
I do want to get your take on Wentz, because I feel like, sometimes there's this weird relationship here, but third in the NFL in passing yardage, passing touchdowns, and first downs on third downs. They've converted 56% on third down. That's best in the NFL. It feels like Wentz is starting to get that 2017 look about him. Do you see that? Do the coaches see that?
Well, I love Carson Wentz and what he's done this season, and I think he actually looks better on film than the numbers say. And I think it's amazing, too, because he's been without Jeffrey a lot and without Deshaun Jackson a lot, and he's had to rely on a lot of backup players, and that failed him against the Detroit Lions. And I just think that Carson is a next level talent who is only going to get better. Here's my problem. They've spent so much time this offseason putting components around him, and so far those components have, in many cases, come up weak. He's been the whole offense. Him and Zach Ertz are the only 2 consistent players on offense. And if I'm Doug Peterson, I'm going to read the riot act to some of these guys. Let's figure out what we're going to do. Now, for Deshaun Jackson, I'm going to use some informed speculation here. This is not reporting in any way, shape, or form. There's no sources involved whatsoever. But if you have an injury in that area, the groin, sports hernia, whatever, and you can't come back at that age, that suggests to me that he probably should have had surgery and didn't want to have it. And to repair whatever tear or strain is involved there. My speculation is that he's decided, all right, I'm just going to ride this thing out, because if I have surgery, I'm done. And so this is going to be problematic for weeks on end, in my view.
Yeah, and that was some fear when you brought back an older Deshaun Jackson. Is he has had the injury bug, and when would it cripple him enough that it would keep him out long term? Of
One
course,
week, Michael. 1 week.
Yeah, 1 week, yes, exactly. And that week was a big one. They need to get him back on the field later, at some point, the way that he played against the Redskins there. And, of course, Sal Pal Friday's brought.
I would say just the opposite, Mike. I would say they need to find somebody or something who can, maybe Stephon Diggs. I don't know. Is it possible?
Well, that's interesting.
I mean, is it possible that you just trade for Diggs if he's in fact available? I'd rather see him trade for Diggs than Jalen Ramsey, because you can get Diggs for a lot less, and he's under contract.
The good part about what you just said, Sal, is that trade speculation and fun in the NFL is now a real possibility. This isn't just throwing stuff out like 5 years ago. That would never occur. Now it's a real possibility.
Of course, and we know that Howie Roseman always has up his sleeve some big deal around this time of the year. He did it during the Super Bowl year. This is what Howie does. He finds a disgruntled player or a team that is disgruntled in its player at a position, like he did with Jay Ajayi in Miami. Gase and Ajayi did not see eye to eye. Remember that? It was well documented in Miami by the Miami Herald. And so Howie and Mike Tannenbaum, who, of course, know each other very, very well from their days in New York together. Tannenbaum hired Howie Roseman, gave him his first job in the NFL at the Jets. They got on the phone and yada, yada, yada. The Eagles got a Super Bowl out of it. So, I mean, this is what Roseman does and why he was the executive of the year. He's fishing for something that's a bargain that can help the team in an area of need where there's a player out there that may be unhappy. But if you're asking me about Jalen Ramsey, if you're going to give up 2 ones, you better have him under contract, and I'm not even sure that you do that.
This season, the pregame starts at Dunkin'. DD Perks members score a $1 medium hot or iced coffee on Eagles game days. They bring you Sal Pal Friday, so head to Dunkin' for your kick before kickoff. Excludes cold brew. Limit 1 per guest per visit. The Eagles run on Dunkin'. Sal Pal Fridays run on Dunkin' on the Sports Pass. Sal, enjoy the Friday. Enjoy the football.
All right. Thanks, Michael.